Hey South Africa, what if I told you the richest man in the country, one of the most powerful figures in Africa, just warned about having his own army to deal with the GNU and the EFF?
So I also have my own army when
when
those red guys come. They've got to go and remember the taxi association. No, but...
Well done, red guys. Johann doesn't forget you.
What if the man who controls billions, who sits comfortably on a wine estate built on generational wealth, just smirked about violence when confronted with political opposition? This isn't a rumor. This is real. And you're about to see it for yourself.
By the way, Jabu and I have one thing in common. He's chairman of the Taxi Association. And one of the first tenets of business partners was the Taxi Association. So I also have my own army when those red guys come. They've got to go and remember the Taxi Association. No, but...
Well done, red guys. Johann doesn't forget you.
Malema's impassioned speech about the Springboks landing on Rupert's private farm instead of Motsepe's and calling it white supremacy. Malema is exposing a reality most of South Africa doesn't want to face, that power hasn't changed hands, that white economic dominance isn't a myth, it's institutionalized, that while black South Africans vote, protest, and struggle, the real decisions are still made by the same elite in Stellenbosch, behind private gates, far away from the noise. And the most disturbing part? It's not just influence, it's intimidation. Let's rewind. Why is Malema so focused on Johann Rupert? Because Rupert isn't just another billionaire. He's the symbol of what the EFF calls white monopoly capital, a system where a few white families still control the economy. Rupert chairs Remgro, owns Richemont, and has hands in everything from mining to media. He sits on a throne built by the colonial past and protected by post-apartheid corruption. He hates the word comrade. Why?
The Cape Town leg, the bus landed in Johann Rupert's farm, a private farm. The whole national team with the cup arrived at the private farm of Johann Rupert. Nakito supporta lojana che wenna. Jabu Johann. What? The whole team ichonwa ya akitsibeka maroko mara bagaba ba robechi ganako. So comrades, Mabokoboko is an Afrikaner pride. It's an Afrikaner property. That's why the president of the Afrikaners, Johann Rupert, received Mabokoboko. Johann Rupert's farm is treated. Mabokoboko goes to Union Building, from Union Building to the mayor, from the mayor to Parliament, from Parliament to Johann Rupert's farm. They are at the same level. That's how the farm of Johann Rupert gets the national team. Not Mamelodi Sundowns of Patrice Motsepe going to Patrice Motsepe's farm. It's none of our business. Marayela Barkiari Naila. All of it on an official diary of rugby tour, Johann Rupert's farm. Parliament, Johann Rupert's farm, same level. And then I must accept that I'm not part of that nonsense. I'm not going to support anything that represents white supremacists, anything that represents apartheid, everything that undermines black people. I will never be part of it. You can be part of your Mabokoboko. I will remain Bafana Bafana until the team of South Africa is brought back into action by the government of the EFF. There is talent. There is talent in South Africa. Our sport is not performing well because it's not funded. It has got no sponsors. Yet white sport gets all types of sponsors. That's why they thrive. I'm not going to be part of Together Forever, Forever what? Kamaka. The Ratambu pretender. ba sa tlo le sotla makgowa ka re le rata ga mpo ba binela le mo leng gore ga go nyakeng. I'm not going to dance to that.
That's right. He openly mocks the liberation struggle. In his world, comrade is bad for business. Why? Because American fund managers don't like it. Because when black leaders use that word, they remind investors of the fight for freedom, for dignity, for land. And Rupert knows that scares his class. He wants ministers who speak like CEOs, not revolutionaries. He wants silence, compliance, stability for his empire. But Malema? Malema refuses to play that game. And that's why Rupert is nervous. That's why he's mocking. That's why he's threatening. Because Malema has done something no other politician in post-apartheid South Africa has dared to do. Point directly at Rupert and say, "You are the real president of this country." And let's be honest, is he wrong? Let's look at the facts. When Zuma removed Pravin Gordhan as finance minister in 2017, what happened? Johann Rupert allegedly called business leaders, told them the economy would collapse and that Gordhan must return. And guess what? He came back. Not because the people demanded it, because Rupert did. This is what Malema calls white capital veto power. When billionaires decide who runs treasury, when policies are shaped not in parliament, but in boardrooms in Stellenbosch. Let me ask you, who is really in charge here? And it gets darker. Rupert isn't just content with power. He wants control over narrative, over symbols, over identity. Why else would he host the Springboks, South Africa's national rugby team, on his private farm?
You want me to give you advice?
Stick to the rules, number one. Number two?
There are about 15 things, but one, create investor confidence. Two, create investor confidence. Three, create investor confidence.
And how do you do that?
By not calling people comrades on TV.
No.
Do you really think an American fund manager is going to say, I want to go invest with that comrade? No.
Now
No. I understand the struggle context of comrades, that people were comrades in the struggle. That I buy. But when cabinet ministers start talking to people who weren't in the struggle, who bought their struggle uniforms at Pepcor.
No, easy now.
Where?
Easy now.
Wherever they buy them.
I really want us to move on. So
Understand what this means. A team that's supposed to represent all South Africans, from Khayelitsha to Soweto, skips Patrice Motsepe's black-owned business and lands on the estate of a white billionaire? That's not a tour. That's allegiance. That's saying, this flag still bows to Stellenbosch. That's what Malema is challenging. And that's why Rupert is responding with arrogance, with sarcasm, with thinly veiled threats. And we haven't even touched on the army part. Let's break it down. Rupert says the taxi association were his first tenants, that they're his people. And he says with a smile that when the red guys come, meaning the EFF, he's got his own army. He laughs, the interviewer laughs. But should you be laughing? This is a man with money, land, connections, and now he's boasting about muscle. In a country where political assassinations are rising, where whistleblowers are murdered, where activists disappear, Rupert says it's just a joke. But history has taught us something. When the rich joke about violence, poor people die. And it's not just about Rupert. It's about the system he represents. A system where white capital can buy silence, where billionaires feel untouchable, where the media will roast Malema for every angry word but protect Rupert after every insult, where one man mocks the struggle and still gets invited to influence policy. That's why the EFF is feared. Not because they're violent, but because they name names, because they challenge the unchallenged. And the media? They won't play these clips. They won't ask Rupert to explain his army comment. They won't ask why the Boks skip Motsepe and bow to Rupert. Number. They'll ask why Malema raises his voice. So what do? We talk about it. We show it. We name it. Because if you're a young black South African watching this, you need to understand. Your life is shaped not just by parliament, but by private wealth, by families like the Ruperts. And if nobody calls them out, they will continue to laugh behind their gates, while the rest of us fight for scraps. We're not saying Malema is perfect. Nobody is. But when he speaks about land, about dignity, about economic freedom, this is the system he's up against. Not just a policy, a dynasty. And to be clear, Rupert is not some evil mastermind twirling his mustache. He's the result of a country that never finished its revolution. That gave black people votes, but not land. That gave us democracy, but left the economy locked behind white gates. Rupert is not just a person, he's a symbol of the deal we signed in 1994 without ever cashing the check, of reconciliation without redistribution. And when he says, "I have my own army," believe him, because they don't joke like we do. Let's be brave enough to speak the truth. Let's be loud enough to make them uncomfortable. Let's be wise enough to connect the dots and see that the real struggle isn't just political, it's economic, it's historical, and it's far from over. South Africa, the game is rigged, but that doesn't mean we stop playing. It means we play harder, louder, smarter, and maybe, just maybe, we stop laughing at their jokes. Let's talk in the comments. Should billionaires like Rupert face more scrutiny? Are Malema's concerns valid? Or are we missing the bigger picture? Let's unpack it, because Top Malema is not afraid to ask the questions that scare the powerful. See you next time. Stay sharp, stay woke, and stay dangerous.
Criminal here, Johann Rupert. If he loves this country and he wants this country to function, he must remove Pravin. Because Pravin is put there by Johann Rupert. It's not Cyril. Cyril has got no power. He's a puppet. The real president is in Stellenbosch there. He's the one that threatened to collapse the economy of South Africa if Zuma doesn't reinstate Pravin. This one here. And it happened. Pravin came back. And he came back more powerful to come and destroy what is left of our state. These people can't take care of their own organization. The ANC is being liquidated. It's in court. It's owing monies to Ezulwini.
That's Johann Rupert, billionaire, chairman of Richemont, architect of brands like Cartier and Montblanc, estimated net worth over $10 billion. But what you just heard is not luxury. It's a warning shot, a veiled threat, an old white oligarch laughing on national television about his own private army to deal with those red guys, a reference to the EFF. Let that sink in. This isn't just an arrogant billionaire talking down to black South Africans. This is a powerful man sending a coded message. Come too close and you'll meet my people. The Taxi Association, my army. This is not just politics. This is power. Raw, concentrated, and dangerous. And it's time we talk about it. Because when Julius Malema stands on a stage and says, "I will never support apartheid symbols. I will never support white supremacy," people call him a radical, a fire starter. But when Johann Rupert, white, rich, untouched, laughs about being protected from Malema by a private army, nobody blinks?